You wake up every morning determined to change your life, right? You try to be more focused, work harder, and push through distractions. And yet at the end of the week, you realize you're stuck in the same place. You wonder, is it because you lack discipline? Or maybe you just haven't worked hard enough? What if I told you that you're chasing success the wrong way? Not because you're lazy, but because success isn't built on willpower or more hours. It's built on something far more powerful, a discipline system, a personal architecture that removes decision fatigue, hijacks your habits, and helps you win even on your worst days. Before we dive into a new approach to achieving your goals, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Here at the Growth Mindset Project, we're creating practical videos to help you design a brilliant life on your terms. Don't miss out. Let's break it down. Most people think success comes from outworking everyone else or waking up at 4 a.m. to hustle harder. Sure, that might get you into the top 10%, but the people at the very top, the top 1%, operate differently. Years ago, I was struggling, convinced I wasn't good enough. Today, I make decisions that shape entire companies and work with leaders around the world. What changed? I realized that relying on discipline alone was a trap. Instead, I built discipline systems, repeatable processes that make the hard things automatic and trap you into progress. Think back to a famous historical example, a commander arriving in a foreign land with a small group of soldiers, facing an empire much larger than his own. To guarantee there was no retreat, he ordered the ships to be destroyed. No escape route, no plan B. Success became the only option. That's the first pillar of a discipline system. Trap yourself. Remove the escape hatch. In my own life, when I was given full responsibility for merging two companies with no backup plan, the pressure forced my focus into overdrive. That's what behavior experts call a forcing function. You can build forcing functions into your discipline system. Start with public commitment. Share a goal with people who will hold you accountable. That simple social pressure pushes you forward. Next, set financial stakes. Prepay for a course, sign up for a race, or invest money in something you're afraid to start. When your wallet is involved, quitting becomes expensive. Then, cut access to distractions. Delete apps, block websites, or physically move temptations out of reach. Finally, time box your tasks. 90 minutes, phone off, and you produce something real. When there's no exit ramp, progress becomes inevitable. Eventually, though, you'll hit the obstacle most people blame for their failures: willpower. This is the most misunderstood part of building a discipline system. You wake up motivated, but by nighttime, you've renegotiated every promise you made. You blame yourself. I'm not disciplined enough. But that's not true. Willpower is not infinite. It's a fuel tank, and decisions drain it. You're not weak, you're human. One famous psychology experiment proved this. Participants had to resist eating freshly baked cookies. Afterwards, the ones who had used willpower resisting the cookies gave up much faster on difficult tasks. Not because they weren't smart or capable, but because their mental resources were drained. Even experienced professionals make worse decisions late in the day because their willpower is low. So why fight biology with motivational slogans? The most successful people don't rely on willpower at all. They engineer their lives with systems. For example, one of the fastest athletes in the world follows a strict routine. Same time, same warm-up, same playlist, 6 days a week. He doesn't leave anything up to willpower. He trusts rhythm. When the moment comes to perform, his body is already prepared. That's system, not struggle. Here's how you can make a breakthrough. Choose one difficult task you avoid and lock in 3 variables: time, place, and trigger. Want to write a book? Choose Thursday at 9 a.m., your desk, same playlist, every week. After a few sessions, the routine becomes automatic. Your mental energy goes into the work, not negotiating with yourself. The simpler the system, the harder it is to break. If you're finding this helpful, drop a like and tell me in the comments what system you're going to build first. Which part of your life is ready to move from willpower to systems? This brings us to another powerful tool, if-then planning. Instead of vague goals like, I want to work out more, set clear triggers. If it's Monday at 7 a.m., then you're at the gym. If you finish lunch, then you take a 15-minute walk. In one well-known study, students who used if-then triggers nearly always followed through because the decision was already made. That's the power of a discipline system. Why do we avoid hard tasks in the first place? Not because the tasks are difficult, but because they trigger uncomfortable emotions, frustration, fear, self-doubt. So your brain bargains with you. Just today, let's skip it. The solution isn't more willpower, it's more automation. When your system is based on if-then logic, you bypass emotion and go straight into action. Let's apply it. If it's Thursday at 3 p.m., you begin your project work. No debate. If it's Sunday evening, you review your week. Identify the task you keep delaying, then pair it with a trigger. This isn't about turning your life into a rigid routine. It's about freeing your mind from constant decision-making so you can focus on growth. Even the best discipline system breaks down under stress unless you add one more tool: decision outsourcing. In high-pressure environments, even experts make basic errors. That's why top surgeons use checklists. A simple checklist cuts mistakes dramatically by catching what the overwhelmed mind misses. Pilots with thousands of hours still use checklists every time they fly. So what would your checklist look like? Try creating 3: a to-do list for execution, a to-want list for goals and dreams, and a to-be list for the person you're becoming. These aren't bureaucracy, they're cognitive relief. They stabilize your mind when stress tries to pull you off course. One final insight: to sustain your discipline system over the long term, you must become the system. Think of elite athletes, musicians, or people who meditate regularly. After years of repetition, their minds anticipate the cues, crave the practice, and eventually move into action automatically. Researchers found that experienced meditators could synchronize their mind and focus without effort, simply because their brains were trained through repetition. Discipline wasn't something they forced. It became who they were. Motivation doesn't create repetition. Repetition creates motivation. Once your brain knows what to expect, resistance disappears and momentum takes over. That's why mastery looks effortless from the outside. So don't try to overhaul your entire life tonight. Create one small rule, one tiny routine, and lock it in. That's how you begin building a discipline system that pulls you forward, even on your hardest days. If you're ready for more, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. Check out our latest video on why you feel stuck and the discipline system that can break you free. Start today and let your system shape your success.